was talking to Nina.
Yeah, y'all both look good. Did Caleb Williams look good? What about J.J. McCarthy, Chicago boy, NFL debut? Here we go. Caleb, finding Roma Dunze down the field.
This is one of those just rare, special talents. I mean, he's got to be running 20 miles or so an hour, and that ball's an absolute dot to Rome.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he does. That's what he does well. Okay, JJ, this was a terrible, terrible pick, Swaggo.
Yeah, the Caleb Williams rush to the end zone, you saw that athleticism
on a little bit
come out on a lot of those plays, and I think it's an element that Ben is going to be able to use. You got to get that throwing element right.
Yeah, and here's the pick, Mina.
Yeah, if you're going to throw that out, you got to throw it right away. Ball came out late. Nation Wright read it from the start.
Yeah, against his former team. How about that? Nicely done.
Knew it was coming.
Yeah, but you know what? Boy, did he respond. And that was pretty impressive. Finding Justin Jefferson for this touchdown, Dan.
This is an outstanding job by Justin Jefferson of flattening his route, making sure that he crosses that middle field safety. That ball's thrown, I always say it down in the red zone. Face mask or higher, belt buckle or lower. The placement by J.J. McCarthy was like, okay, you finally got something. It's like a basketball. You saw it go in, and you got a little bit of momentum.
And then Caleb takes the sack here, Swaggo.
Yeah, this was one of the issues. You still see the holding of the ball. Troy talked about it last night. Some anticipation is needed.
How do you like this, Mina? It goes downfield, finds his running back, Aaron Jones.
I love running backs getting vertical out of the backfield. Aaron Jones did that in Green Bay. Here he is doing it again in Minnesota.
All right, the Bears blowing an 11-point lead in the fourth when McCarthy calls his own number there.
Play call of the night. Play call of the night. Nobody in that
was
stadium.
even asleep.
No one expected
I forgot he can run. That's what I said.
How about that? The Vikings make our second primetime comeback. I mean, that was tremendous. And going back to 1950, there have been only 2 starting quarterbacks lead a double-digit fourth-quarter comeback in their NFL debut. We saw J.J. McCarthy do it last night. How about Steve Young, a Buccaneer, did it in the mid-'80s, coming from down 16-6 for a 1916 overtime win over the Lions. Of course, he went on to make 7 Pro Bowls, win a few Super Bowls, MVPs. And McCarthy's coach, Kevin O'Connell, made sure to give his young QB some props afterwards.
This guy didn't quit me, and you always thought he would figure it out. He had 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown.
Love that scene afterwards. You know, KOC said, he told him at halftime, hey, kid, you're going to come back and win this game for us.
Yeah, it seems like the vibes and the culture in Minnesota locker room-wise are awesome. I think part of the reason why Kevin O'Connell told him that was because Kevin O'Connell knows how great of a play caller he is. I think the 3 plays that matter the most, you're going to get in these situations what we call match quarters defense. And Kevin O'Connell wants to put stress on the linebackers because that's the advantage for the offense. Couple things happen. Number 1, when you shoot the tight end that way, that backer is going to follow. So you've taken care of one guy, and then that backer is then lined up one-on-one with Aaron Jones. Couple things have to happen. Jones has got to go outside that tackle. 1, to create leverage. 2, it makes sure that that defensive end can't go outside. Second thing is this, you got to lift the safety. That's what this receiver's job is to do. You have to lift that safety. Once you do that, he's gone. So now you've truly created a one-on-one matchup for Aaron Jones. He just has to stutter, and J.J. McCarthy has to get that ball out on time. Huge opportunity for the touchdown to Minnesota. Now the play call with the quarterback run. Everyone needs to pay attention to start with T.J. Hockenson. You're going to see Hawk at the snap jab down and then arc release to go become a blocker. When he does that, that defensive end's job is to step down as well. You've now created leverage for the quarterback. Slow it down. Watch. See that jab right there? That freezes that defensive end in step number 1. Step number 2, you freeze him on that zone read. He collapses. J.J. McCarthy becomes the runner with the football. This is the play call of the night by Kevin O'Connell. But the play before is the reason why. When the quarterback's struggling a little bit, you just want him to do what he has to do. Okay? You want him to operate the offense. You see J.J. McCarthy right now going, hey, alert, alert, alert. He's going to the second play, and the tight end is coming in. He was outside there. Now, when he was outside, that corner's playing him. That tells everybody it's zone defense. Now, Dennis Allen is the defensive coordinator for the Bears. When he's in these zone defenses, in these situations, what he wants to do is go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-man pressure, and then play a 2 deep zone with droppers. You know what's great against that? A screen to the perimeter because you have numbers advantages. Kevin O'Connell anticipated that play call. That led to the J.J. McCarthy run. They changed the play. You get the perimeter screen to Justin Jefferson. And look, You waste all those blitzers. This is an outstanding job by Hawk getting out there, lead block. Jefferson comes to the funnel screen, and it's a massive. This was 2nd and 11. It leads to that 3rd and 1 play call for the zone read, and it's a huge opportunity and score for the Vikings. Kevin O'Connell said, JJ, you're going to lead us back.
Yeah.
In part because everything we know about the Vikings is real. It's as well coached offensively and the quarterback position that we have in the NFL.
Man, the fans must be so excited after what they saw. I'm sure a big concern the first 3 quarters. He looked like a different quarterback down the stretch. What did you notice him start to change?
We talked about it yesterday, right? I've never seen this guy play an NFL game. Right. It's fast out there, Hannah. Like, it's cool to say he's going to be this and he's going to be that. But when you get in real-time action, it's a different situation for you. The calmness that Kevin O'Connell kept on the sideline was big for me, and never kind of wavering, never saying we just gonna huddle the ball and run out of 13 personnel and we're gonna continue to let him play. The run game got going. Y'all know how I feel about that, which I think settled the young fella too, but the throw to Justin Jefferson. Because usually what happens is, and this is from being around Dan for a long time, especially with young quarterbacks, something you don't know I picked up from you.
What you got?
They usually get terrified to throw the ball in the middle of the field after they've not had success, right?
Yeah.
And for him to make that throw, that still was kind of a tight window throw when you think about the traffic that was funneling in the end zone at that time. When he made that throw, and I asked Troy Aikman this yesterday on Countdown, I said, will there be a point in this game
a moment
where you realize McCarthy has kind of settled in? And I think that was the seminal moment for him, kind of going back to, all right, I can do this. All of the coaching, all of the things that my coach believes in me, I can go out and execute, and the execution went up to another level.
I mean, coming back after a terrible pick, too.
Yeah, but he never quit on him.
Right, exactly.
You know what else jumped out to me about that touchdown throw to Justin Jefferson? Pass protection from Jordan Mason. Did you see they ran a twist up front? He picked up 2 pass rushers. And I want to mention that young man's name because I thought he was excellent. You talked about the run game settling down in the 4th quarter. Once they got him going on those duo downhill runs, you really saw the vision and the burst, and it added an extra element to this offense. Everything the Vikings did in the offseason was to improve their run game to help their young quarterback, investing in the interior of the offensive line, who I also thought played quite well down the stretch, and then trading for Jordan Mason from San Francisco, a really underrated move. I thought he gave them some juice that had been missing in the rushing attack.
You know what, another thing for JJ? What shined throughout the game was like the starting point foundation of how he plays. Like, even when it wasn't going great, I'd still watch the tape and be like, it's going to the right place at the right time. You know, like, I think the obsession with the process of just I play with the rhythm of my feet. I play with the timing of the offense, and it wasn't flawless. But I think that allowed him to just stay even keel, like you're talking about, and waver some of the ups and downs. It wasn't result-centric. It was so like, because I'm watching the game, I'm like, he's throwing it to the right place at the right time. It wasn't complete. Right place, right time. And I think eventually it was that avalanche of doing the right thing at the right time with the ball.
All coming together,
By the way, it's not that easy to go back to your hometown, too. And you're playing the team that you grew up rooting for, right? And you're in prime time. I know he played a national championship before, but
that means nothing to me. Listen, I played in the national championship. First practice in the league was against Larry Allen. That ain't have a damn thing to do with how I was going to play that block. The other thing was, Chicago did a phenomenal job in their rush early in that game.
Tackles
was getting pinched on, and they were getting to him, kind of being in his face.
But he never got impacted by it.
But then to that point, I think that's Kevin O'Connell. I think that's because when you come to the sideline, and Josh, we talked to Josh before the game. When you come to the sideline, brother, you have to know that those guys are still confident in what we came here to do and what we believe in you, and I don't think that ever wavered.
Well, Kevin O'Connell and Justin Jefferson, how often in Minnesota have we seen that these quarterbacks have to learn the lesson, hey, he may not look open, but he's open. He's throw the ball downfield. And JJ never wavered from that later in the game. He was not hesitant at all. He didn't have to, like, see it, throw it.
Doesn't have Jordan Addison yet either. He'll be coming back.
And see, for me, like, it permeates, right? So there's another level to this. Because and y'all know I always like to look through the prism of a defensive player. All I want to leave that game saying is we got a dog. Right? It might not be great because we know he's young and this is his first start for real in the NFL. You want to walk away saying we got a dog at that position? I guarantee you it's going to light a fire under a lot more people on that. That's the power of
Especially when they watch that moment, just when that run happens and he gets like the 2 or 3 and Hawkinson's up front blocking and he's like, am I going to step out of bounds? I've got the first. No, go get it.
Yep.
All right, guys, listen, we have more time to talk about this. Got to get to some breaking news out of San Francisco where the 49ers have put George Kittle on injured reserve. That means he's going to miss at least 4 games. He has a hamstring injury he suffered in the season opener. Kyle Shanahan said he was a focal point of that game plan. He had 4 targets for 25 yards and a touchdown before pulling up after run blocking early in the second quarter. Okay, Brock Purdy also dealing with toe and shoulder injuries. We'll see if he's able to play this week. Here's the upcoming schedule in terms of the games that Kittle is going to miss. So they win their opener in Seattle. They're going to stay on the road. They're going to take on the Saints on Sunday. They have a couple of home games against the Cardinals and the Jaguars. The schedule takes a little bit of a turn there in Week 5. They're going to face the Rams on Thursday Night Football in L.A., and then Kittle is going to be eligible to return October 12th for their game at Tampa Bay. And we also saw, listen, Brandon Ayuk is out. CMC was questionable before the game. Mac Jones, by the way, is a backup quarterback. What does this Kittle's news mean?
I think a couple things for San Francisco. If defense is keying on Christian McCaffrey, which is what's going to happen, can you continue to punish them with Ricky Pearsall, who I thought came up big in this game? And then pass protection. Brock Purdy was pressured 26 times in this game. And a lot of that, I will say, was Brock Purdy holding on to the football a little bit too long, which he's sometimes prone to do, but also tons of unblocked pressures. Now, I think Seattle's defense is very tricky, and this is a Week 1 thing where maybe, Week 1's a little bit of a liar. But moving forward, that has to improve, I think, for this offense to keep running without Kittle.
I get concerned with McCaffrey touches. I mean, 31 touches in Week 1 in September. And so, because the initial thought is, well, Kittle's hurt, McCaffrey was the guy last week. And so, look at like the touches per 2019 per game, like 31 touches. Are we going into October with 120, 130 touches for McCaffrey? And so, this is a lot.
He's not 100% either.
It's a lot to weather in San Francisco right now.
You just feel terrible for the franchise, right? Last year, you decimated by injury. This year, and look, Kittle, obviously, he's the guy, the one-on-one guy when you can find those matchups. We saw it this game, the touchdown on the out route. They love exploiting those matchups when they get those opportunities. But I think people forget, and you brought it up, Mina, and you brought it up, Dio, he's such a good run blocker. And ultimately, like at the core of Kyle Shanahan, he would love to dominate on the ground.
I didn't think San Francisco blocked the run very well.
I was just about to say that. So now you lose somebody that you count on. I'm going to tell you, like, and nobody's going to say it, they look old. San Fran looks old.
Yeah.
They don't look, you remember that burst and that pop that we used to see from this team? Now, again, they've suffered so many injuries.
Yes.
Dudes walked out of that building. I'm even thinking about the defensive side. Drake Greenlaw no longer there. Tyler Ufunga. We talking about like kind of demeanor type guys. So you kind of ushering in this new wave. And I talked about it before the season. I didn't know if San Francisco, I didn't think they would ever be bad. I think their head coach and that staff that they put together is too good for them to be a bad football team. But it's almost like this team is in rebuilding.
I just think they got to be really
they can't
smart.
stay healthy.
They got to be really smart with how much is too much for McCaffrey in September.
Yep. We have some more news coming in, you guys. Fast and furious here on this Tuesday on NFL Live. So the NFL has come to a decision on a punishment for Jalen Carter's spitting incident from last week's opener. He spit on Dak Prescott and was ejected from the game. Adam Schefter reporting that Carter will be fined just over $57,000, noting that the ejection will essentially serve as a one-game suspension. He missed the entire game, meaning that Carter will be available to play this week. His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, said that his client will not appeal the decision. And more coming in here, more top stories starting at Pittsburgh. The Steelers have signed former Patriot safety Jabril Peppers, adding some depth and experience to that secondary, with safety Deshaun Elliott expected to miss some time with a knee injury. Peppers certainly could see some meaningful snaps sooner rather than later. And look who's out again, Howie Roseman. The Eagles have traded for running back Tank Bigsby, sending their 2026 5th and 6th round picks in the deal to Jacksonville. So Philly adds another weapon to that deep and talented running back room. They've been awfully busy. Got Zadarius Smith as well. Meanwhile, a developing story on NFL Live. The estranged wife of Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill has alleged that he committed domestic violence in 8 separate incidents beginning in January of 2024. That's about 2 months after they were married. The allegations were made in court filings related to the couple's divorce case. Hill has not been criminally charged, and it is unclear if police are investigating. Hill's attorney said in a statement that the allegations are part of a shakedown and an attempt to generate bad media coverage of Hill. Parsons and had this to say about Micah's debut in Green Bay on Sunday.
From what I saw of him, I thought he was able to get in there and play without having any influence from his back. And I say that with a straight face, I do. And having said that, wish him well.
Oh, good Lord. I almost hate to ask you. What do you think of what Jerry had to say?
So what?
Yeah.
So what? Like, let's focus on the Dallas Cowboys. I know they asked Jerry a question. He does his radio show weekly. Micah came up. His back wasn't hurt. He used his back so he could get his deal without practicing and hurting his back. I'm sure that was a tweak. I understand what was going on with Micah Parsons, but to have him in the conversation, to even feel like you need to answer a question, he no longer plays there. He's in Green Bay now. And I think he's headed for greener pastures. So let's just rock out with Micah being a Green Bay Packer, and let's focus on what the Dallas Cowboys need to do to try to win games.
What a completely different organization Micah Parsons has landed with.
Like,
wow. So
I did not think I was going to have to respond to Jerry talking about Micah.
It's never over.
Week 1 of the NFL season when he's no longer in a uniform.
This is what you get. This is what you get, our former Cowboy. This is what you get, my friend. Parsons did play 29 snaps. He played about 45% of possible plays against the Lions. He had 3 pressures, resulting in a sack, an interception, a completion for a 2-yard loss. So, Dan Quinn, what do you think about him playing against your guys on Thursday?
How do you combat a guy? Is it inevitable that he's going to make those plays in that backfield?
Are you asking what would I do if I was coaching him? Yeah, I'd sit him this week on a short week.
That's classic DQ right there. For more, we bring in Rob Demovsky, who obviously covers the Packers and does such a great job for us. It's a really short week. Obviously, it's a Thursday night game. So what's the game plan regarding Micah, Rob?
Well, Hannah, guess who decided how much Micah Parsons was going to play in his debut here last Sunday against the Lions? Well, the answer? Micah Parsons, or at least he talked the defensive coaches into letting him play those 29 snaps that you mentioned. And it makes sense because after the game, Packers coach Matt LaFleur said that was more than he anticipated that Parsons would play, and he joked that he would investigate just what happened. Well, here's how Parsons made his case.
I was tired as ever, but, you know, at the end of the day, like, you just got one a little bit more than that next guy. And I think that's just what it's about. And it's the determination, it's the will, it's the grunt, you know, the push while you're tired. Because I told them, you know, the other day when they were talking to me about the snap count, I was like, I mean, we could run gassers, we could be in practice, and you give me these plays, we could run to the ball. But I was like, at the end of the day, like, you gotta let me push through some things. You gotta let me, like, you know, get tired and get wore out there, so that way I can become better and get better from it. And, you know, that's when it was like, okay, your reps can go up. Like, you gotta really, like, sometimes you gotta fight for your own right to play.
As for Thursday here against Washington, remember when Parsons got here, Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley said he immediately started drawing up plays for Parsons. Well, Parsons said today this might be a game where some of those come out. And it's also worth noting, Hannah, that against Washington, Micah Parsons has 10.5 sacks in his career. That's his most against any opponent.
4.5 of them sacking Jayden Daniels last season alone in their meetings. Rob Demovsky, we appreciate you. I think you're in for a really special year this year. Meanwhile, Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence in his first year under new head coach Liam Cohen might not have had the best statistical game against the Panthers, but he certainly did what he had to do to get his team a win. One of the highest paid players in all of the land, Lawrence is now working under his 3rd offensive system in 5 years, went 19 for 31, a touchdown, an interception, added another 12 yards on 4 carries. Hey, let's go to the dynamic duo. Break it down for us, Dan and Mina.
Week 1, confidence is back, at least for that time, for Trevor Lawrence, and that's what good play callers, good coaching does. Trevor Lawrence, for a year and a half now, has struggled with just letting the football go. You're going to get an internal pressure, linebacker replace. It's 3 deep. 3 underneath. He's going to work up to the top of your screen. That linebacker goes there. No, quickly get backside and replace it. Now 2nd and 8 becomes a first down for our offense. Trevor Lawrence didn't do that last year. This time it's a short in and a corner route up top. That nickel defender tells you what to do with the football. It's 1, 2, 3. Is he lifting? Yes. Get the ball out right now. Yards after the catch. So 1st and 20 because a penalty becomes 2nd and 9. Now listen, give me this. You give me this, you got a top 5 player at the position. Look how early he cuts this ball loose on the deep curl. That ball's coming out right now. You got 3, 4 defenders sitting in that tight zone staring at you. Cut it loose, dude. Trust your eyes and let it fly into that zone. That ball's pinned on that receiver for a huge conversion. That last clip for me, we didn't get Trevor Lawrence like that last year. That would have been a double hitch, triple hitch, or not even a throw at all. If they get that, they get a different quarterback this season.
I think you saw he had faith in the structure of the offense, and why shouldn't he? I mean, Liam Cohen, the effect I feel like is obvious already. I loved what I saw from the run game. You know, we have these offensive coordinators switching teams, going to what we believe to be inferior offensive lines, and that run game doesn't always come with it. We're going to talk about Chicago later. This run game, I thought looked as best as it's looked in Jacksonville for quite some time with Trevor Etienne. The thing that really jumped out to me, a lot of it, most of his explosive runs were out of 12 personnel. Split flow, Brenton Strange, who they settled on as their starting tight end after moving on from Evan Ingram, I thought was fantastic blocking. Some of the additions on the offensive line as well, throwing big blocks, Robert Hainsey, Patrick McCarry. If they can run the football the way they did in this game, this offense is going to be electric.
It's 1 week, but you have to be hopeful and looking forward to the future offensively in Jacksonville.
Tuesday we play a little game. It's really fun. It's called What Went Wrong. So, Dan the Man, you tweeted out some Cam Ward tape, right? What did you see from the #1 overall pick?
The guy's a guy.
He was so good.
Cam Ward, he sees it and throws it. This team would have beaten the Broncos in Denver if not for like 8 drops. I mean, they had 4 drops in the 4th quarter. And so I think if you're the Titans, you're sitting there going, our quarterback sees it. He's fearless. He's confident with his arm. They just got to get those guys around him to catch it a little bit more consistently and get used to that ball. Is when you turn your head looking for it, it's out of his hand coming your way.
Yeah, they host the Rams on Sunday. All right, let's go to, just had to add that in.
Line.
We'll talk to you next week. To Detroit, they're already halfway their loss total from last season. They fell to the Packers by 14 at Lambeau. With that loss, their chance to make the playoffs falls from 67 to 39%, according to ESPN Analytics. 9th highest percentage among NFC teams. 28% drop, biggest among all teams before week 1 to now. So, Swagoo, no Ben Johnson, no Aaron Glenn. What went wrong for the Lions?
Yeah, obviously the coordinators are missing, but the physicality and the inability to create explosive plays. That's what this offense became synonymous with. Jared, obviously in the play action game, was a killer last year. And what they did offensively, the offensive line got pushed around. And this is just not something that you've grown accustomed to. I'm sure Dan Campbell is going to address this. He's an upfront type of guy, but the way that they were beat to the punch by the Green Bay Packers, they just looked slow. They got knocked back, and a lot of things about Detroit that we've grown to love over these past couple of years did not show up against the Green Bay Packers.
They host Ben Johnson's Bears on Sunday. Thank you, schedule makers.
It's going to be 0-2.
Yeah, I know. Think about that. All right, what went wrong with the Texans? Their quest for a 3rd straight division title off to a rough start. Only managed 9 points against the Rams. Their chances to make the playoffs, according to ESPN Analytics, dropped 19 points down to 35%. Entering the season, the Texans had the best chance to make the playoffs in the AFC South, and now they rank behind the Colts and the Jaguars. Mina, what went wrong for H-Town?
Same stuff that went wrong last year. I mean, it just felt like deja vu. The offensive line still can't pick up stunts. The run game on early downs stinks. C.J. Stroud in this game averaged 10.7 yards to go on 3rd down. More than a first down. And it just leads to a lot of the same issues we saw last season. He's just constantly under siege. They did not fix the offensive line. Fortunately for them, they can figure it out. It's a long season.
And we are all complete idiots because we picked them to win. That's another story. All right.
Defense is good.
Yeah. All right, what didn't go wrong for the Dolphins in their opener 33-8 loss to Daniel Jones and the Colts? Miami didn't even score until midway through the 4th. Predictably, their chance to make the playoffs also took a big hit. The 23% drop was the biggest among all of the teams in the AFC. Now they have just a 10% chance to make the playoffs, only better than the Giants, the Titans, and the Browns. And then there's this. Ex-Dolphin and current Colt Xavier Howard had this to say about Tua after the game.
We knew the guy, he get the ball out pretty quick. And once we take away his first read, I feel like it's panic mode after that. And it showed yesterday, man. We took away his first read, and he was trying to get rid of the ball real quick.
Tua threw 2 picks. He had a fumble.
Why did you guys cut to me?
I was going to ask Swagoo.
Because I was looking at Marcus.
Yeah, we were all trying to avoid eye contact.
I know.
He said that. It's so awkward.
Swagoo. It's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth. And the reason why me and Dan, we got this inside joke, I said this 2 years ago. We had this conversation about Tua and his first read, and it seems to break down. As a defense player, we love it. We know when you have to go to a secondary level play, and that's the NFL. Now, I got an example. Here's the tape. These are all quick outs. He hit 2 of these in a row. They get to a first down, throws this slant, it's wide open. This is when Tua is at his best, when he can back foot hit the ground and he can let it go.
Right.
You got a shallow crosser right here, which he probably should have taken. This was like a 3rd and 4. Take that. I know he sees the defender sitting, so he goes in the middle of the field, and there it is. But to me, I've been watching Tua play for a long time now, and I think he's a phenomenal quarterback when he can play with timing. Problem is, this league don't allow you to do that all the time. And in most games, we are going to figure out that you struggle when you have to hold it and when you got to move and manipulate the pocket in order to create plays. Don't take my word for it. Look at every NFL game. Like, every guy looks great on a 3-step drop when they back foot hit and they can let the ball go, because that's football 101.
Even me?
It's just even you, Dio. It's the next level in which we talk about these other guys.
Yeah.
It's the next level, the next play within the play. And again, the athleticism is not there to create with your legs, so his arm is what he's dependent on. And I think Miami got a huge problem if they can't play in structure offensively. And the run game is bad.
Bad
The
all
run game
around.
actually looked a little bit better in this
thought
one.
so?
Yeah, it was certainly better in the pass game.
Well, comparing that to that.
Yeah, the bar is not high.
What you saw is what we've seen over the last 2 years plus. Smart defensive coordinators know how to take away their stuff. And the Colts have one now, or have one in not that they did before, but Lou Anarumo, he's pretty good at this, guys, and that's kind of the other side of the story is the Colts defense. You take away the middle of the field, you get guys to the landmarks, you simulated pressures, take away the throwing windows. That's how they got a couple of those picks. It's just a proven formula against this Miami offense. And what Howard said statistically, it is true. In this game, when Tua went off of his first read, according to FTN Fantasy, worst quarterback in football this weekend.
Yeah, so it's heavy in Miami right now. It's a big lift. We talked about it yesterday, how bad the tape was on both sides of the ball. And I'm trying to put myself into Mike McDaniel's shoes because we've spent time with him. I've spent time with him. You walk away and you're unbelievably impressed. How smart he is, the way he talks about people.
Yep.
How does it get better after week 1? Like the blown assignments. How do you get rid of the blown assignments? Do you minimize the playbook? Do you get people out of those positions? How do you get Tua to maybe get number 1 open a little bit more, but also if Tua is going to be that style of player, and I've always thought when one is open, he sees it faster than anybody, you're not going to change him that much right now. So I think the question is, how does Mike McDaniel get the group together to play more consistent football, stop thinking, communicate better, and let it rip? Because, that was a shell of what
can you do that at this point?
I think Mike's impressive. It's a big ask, though. Because your team knows.
They know.
You got rid of all your vets and all that. Your team knows. So it's hard in the locker room right now. It's a big challenge for him.
Yeah, Tua's 7th game with at least 3 turnovers. They host the Patriots coming up.
Think about how far we've come from a year. Now this team started to kind of wane at the end of the season last year.
Yeah.
This team put 70 points on the board against
2 years ago they were
right?
the 1 seed.
The 1 seed. So again, it's to your point, Dio. It's gonna have to be a lot of changes. Yep.
I was going to say the passing attack actually looked good when he came back last year. It was efficient. Totally. It just wasn't explosive. But this was bad.
All right, and then there's this. Alive, and the Chargers kicked off the season knocking off the Chiefs in Brazil, as you know, coming off a 4-interception outing in their playoff loss last year. I know, how good was Justin Herbert on Friday, throwing 3 touchdowns, not a pick in sight. A perfect 9 for 9 in the 4th quarter, excelling with play action, didn't face pressure on 70% of his attempts, and was 20 for 24 with a clean pocket. Here's his head coach, Jim Harbaugh, giving the praise to OC Greg Roman.
G-Rose had some great games as a play caller, as a as a game planner, as an offensive coordinator, I would put this one at the very top. Maybe none better than this one. Some on the same plane as this game, but none higher. I thought it was just a great performance.
Had to think about that. Some on the same plane, maybe. Listen, they were together with the Niners, too. And what did you think about what he said, what you saw?
That was my one major note from that game.
Yeah.
It's the best game that I've seen Greg Roman call. The play-action stuff that they have is tantalizing right now. I hope they do it all season long, because if they do it, I think Herbert's going to be a top 5 quarterback. 3 tight ends on the field. You pull the backside guard and the tight end, so it looks like lead power. That front side tight end is stepping down. That's a midline ball fake. You pull horizontally with Ladd McConkey. You push vertically with Quentin Johnston. Look at the space you've created. I mean, this is ridiculously good for a play caller, a play designer. And then Herbert gets off a little bit basic ball fake, a 35 to 40-yard gain to their tight end. The way they use their tight ends was great. 6 offensive linemen, love it. 2 tight ends on the field. One's placed as a fullback. You motion the tight end. Here comes another ball fake. That fullback bluffs like he's going to block that inside linebacker. It's 8-man protection. You lift the coverage, and now you've got a 2-on-1 in the flat with a pocket with Justin Herbert that's absolutely sensational, and that's just pitch and catch. That's just throwing routes on air. This is one of my favorite. So the line of scrimmage, Quentin Johnston's in the slot on the line of scrimmage. The receiver outside of him is off the line of scrimmage. Usually it's role reversal, and the off the line of scrimmage guy becomes the slip behind guy. Quentin Johnston goes from on the line of scrimmage to behind the offensive line on the ball fake, and there's that little slide. These are easy throws for the quarterback that become huge gains for their offense. I loved it. The way, and I also love this. They unleashed Herbert, man. This has been a run-centric coach and offensive coordinator for a long time. I get it. It wasn't in this game. In this game, they were like, we got the best player on the field in our opinion. Let's go give him the game. And he was absolutely sensational.
I thought this game was a perfect case study in something that is often misunderstood, which is you don't have to run the ball well for play action to work. You just, as a team, have to sell it. And as Dan laid out, they sold it. They all committed to it. I mean, 2 of the other big plays, play action plays that they hit, shot plays, one was leaked to Conklin. They had the fullback on the field with that one. Yep. Another Yankee concept to Ladd, wide open, had the fullback on the field pulling again in that one. Everything they did, formationally, personnel, the pulling action, made the Chiefs backers bite so hard on the play action. And if you're another team, you're watching that, you're thinking, okay, cool, the Chiefs defense stinks against play action. You can't just press play action. You have to, as a team, commit to selling it, and it's not just about the quarterback and the ball fake. It's the offensive line, it's the scheme, it's everything. I thought they were phenomenal in that regard.
Yeah, I couldn't help but think, so me and my son play video games, right? And as you pass levels, you get more things added to what you can do as a player. Greg Roman, this is the next iteration. A lot of this looked familiar with what he did in Baltimore. Totally. But it was handoffs, like y'all saying. And now he's built in, right? Like now he's built in. Because remember, you and Mina, we would sit here and all talk, man, the 13 personnel, and he running for 240 yards. All of that has become pushing the ball down. Y'all know I used to cry about with Justin Herbert in the previous coordinator, I'm not going to be unfair and name him, is that he never let him be an athlete. Yeah. He never moved the pocket for him, never got him on the outside.
I remember you beating that drum.
Oh, I hated it so much.
You know how Josh Allen gets to a point where he just takes off? Like he just sees seams and takes off? Herbert was doing the same stuff.
Doing the same stuff.
Yeah. He has the best total QBR in the NFL.
I was very excited to see Justin Herbert play like unleashed is the perfect word.
Yeah.
Unleashed is the perfect word.
Swaggy little slide at the end. He was feeling himself.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Now a 1st and 10 from the 38-yard line. So Kittle comes in motion. And a good effort there defensively. It's knocked away and incomplete.
There's a fine line between trusting your arm and having a little bit too much faith in your arm, right? I think this was one of those situations here, Mike, where there was nowhere to go with the ball. He tries to fit that one in there anyway, and he's lucky that it just falls incomplete.
Looking to set up the screen there, but he decides not to force it, and it's incomplete.
You can't fault the quarterback on this one. Like, he really didn't even have much of an opportunity. By the time he hit the top of his drop and got his eyes downfield, the defense was all over him, and he really had no choice but to just get that ball out of his hand and live to play another snap.
He'll be forced to just blow that one away. It's incomplete.
So defensively, there's always the initial pass coverage plan, and then when that breaks down and the quarterback goes into scramble mode, how fast can you then move on to the second phase of what they call plaster, meaning find the nearest receiver and almost play him man-to-man, and that's exactly what they did here, and there was nowhere for the ball to go, and he's forced to just throw it away.
And no return forthcoming. It's a touchback and will come out to the 20-yard line. The Chiefs offense and Hollywood Brown ready for their next possession. They lead by a touchdown as this drive begins with 1st and 10. From the shotgun, it's Mahomes. Now a deep ball looking for Brown.
I'll tell you what, Mike, considering how this offense has played the first couple possessions, I'm surprised that one wasn't completed. It seems like that's the first miss of the game. Continue to push the ball downfield. Continue to build on this momentum, because so far they've come out hot in this one.
Up in the middle, and he's got Brown. And he'll be taken down all the way up past the 45.
You can see this connect.